different.
Good afternoon. I'm speaking to you live just outside.
I like to think balding is just God's way of saying, now let's see you get laid.
Is it true that if you don't use it, you lose it?
What I'd really like to do is put the greatness of this man in perspective.
The hairloss community has a lot to be thankful for, having you as a spokesperson.
You mean you just call this guy up?
About life and about reality.
And now, America's #1 reality radio show for men. Live from Los Angeles, it's Spencer Kobren's The Bald Truth.
Hey guys, welcome to the show. I would apologize for being late, but I have nothing to be sorry for.
Good night.
Good night. You know, normally I do I'm okay, I'm hanging in there. Normally I do a whole, sometimes I go on a tirade. I talk about my frustrations with this field. I talk about my frustrations with the physicians who are involved in this field and the fact that in most cases, these guys, sadly, are incredibly apathetic, at the very least, when it comes to the reality of what's happening to not only their field, but to the thousands of patients that are being, in my estimation, thousands of patients being disfigured on a weekly basis in this field.
Yeah,
it's really not my estimation. I mean, this is from what I know. And people that have contacted us through our resources, we know how many people are having hair transplant surgery in general. And for the amount of people that they claim are having hair transplant surgery compared to the amount of complaints that we're receiving, just in 2022 alone, it's insane. It's insanity. That so many people are finding us after the fact, more than ever before. It's fucking frightening. And I have to say, I've been banging my head against the wall for about 25 years trying to somehow herd these physicians, to get these cats, to really affect change in their own field. And you know what? As of today, I gave up. I have to take a different route.
That's a strong statement.
I don't see any point anymore in trying to make it happen with these physicians. It's going to come down to the reality that there's a group of physicians who are gung-ho. Some of these guys are new applicants to the IHRS, but they're very open to being involved. They're very open to creating content with us. They're very open to, sharing content about the reality of trying to navigate this incredibly dangerous place. They're not mired in fear and groupthink. But it's still really not enough. Maybe I can bring on an extra 60 some odd guys who are acceptable, who are doing consistently good work, or are relatively new, who would be maybe associate members of the organization, but who would be willing to do the grind. But I got to tell you, the rest, the old timers and the guys that we have, long-term relationships with, they don't want to do shit. They talk a big fucking game, but when push comes to shove, nothing happens. They either don't have the wherewithal, or they're really like, look I don't like what's happening to this field, but I'm just taking care of my little sphere, my patients as best as I can, and what we'll do is we'll complain privately amongst ourselves and just allow everyone else's lives who are depending on this field to possibly be destroyed or at least be put in jeopardy.
You and me both. Like I had a WTF moment among many this week when one of the things I do, I'm not a lead guy. It's like when doctors I'm working with, come on board, they learn real fast. I'm not here to generate leads. I'm not here to be a consultant. I don't do any of that. It's all part of the bigger picture, the message, of doing things a bit better than the next guy, focusing on consistency and trying to do the right thing. I mean, no one's perfect, and we all know that. But But there's also the component where I work with clinics on the back end. That's a big thing, big part of what I do. And I advise them on how to be better. I advise them on how to get, to get better patients, not just more patients. And I think that if you have fewer good patients, that's a whole hell of a lot better than a lot more bad patients, meaning those patients that you have to really spend a lot of time educating because they haven't found valuable resources that actually help them out. And I think that when you have a clinic that understands that and they take the tools that they're provided and they can share it with their patients to go ahead and educate them, I think that's a huge win for everyone involved. But when you hand all these tools to someone and you try to guide them for years on how to utilize these for the ultimate outcome, which is being booked out pretty far, but having patients that are aware of what they're getting themselves into, which is just a whole different universe when that works out. But when they turn around and they start investing in other avenues before they actually utilize everything that they've been handed for the past several years, it blows my mind how people can do this when they have all the tools at their disposal to make all their goals happen, and they don't get it. It's like you're talking about beating your head against the wall earlier. That's exactly what I feel like as well sometimes, and especially like with this particular situation. It's like, have you been asleep for the past 4 years, 5 years, or however long it's been? I've been telling you this stuff, and it's just a reminder that even people that you think are the good guys are only after one thing, and that is, two things actually: feeding their ego and then feeding their bank account. And it's
I would say that's a little harsh. That's a little harsh, and that's not necessarily the thoughts or ideas of this broadcast. But no, I totally get it, dude. I totally get it. Listen, I am. It's funny. I kind of sit back now and I listen to kind of like voices of my past, and a few of them, one in particular, it's always told me, why are you so concerned over this? Why don't you just enjoy your success? Enjoy the fact that you're able to do what you need to do. The people that find you are helped. And the physicians who want to work with you to, or support this message, you can continue to work with them and do everything else that you're doing in the field. But why worry about, why are you so obsessed about trying to fix everything when there's a good chance that's never going to happen? And I was like, I would say things like that. It's not impossible that it could happen. I think that I could eventually make these guys and women see the light. I really do. And I think about it now, I'm like, I don't think I can. This bitch was right. She was right the entire fucking time.
Yeah.
So, listen, guys, I'm sorry, but you come, you can watch the program. We'll provide the content. We'll provide more information through the American Hair Loss Association, now Dermatology Times. I'm going to have to take a slightly different stance as far as how I choose to work and who I choose to work with, as far as the physicians are concerned, and I've made that decision today. But, we're still helping a few thousand people a week, Joe. That's how I have to think about it. I'm not going to give up on my end, but I'm definitely giving up on trying to convince these guys of anything. Can't fix them. They're fucking broken. The entire system's broken. It cannot be fixed. They're just going to have to eventually age out or die out.
Yeah, that's a lot of what's going to, it's, one of them left recently. He aged out.
Yeah.
That's good. That's one down. How many more hundreds to go?
Well, a couple of them have aged out, but I mean, it's funny. The guys, I don't know. It's frustrating. It's all talk. It's just bullshit. The bottom line is everyone's out for themselves. It's every gorilla for themselves, and that's the way that it is. And I have to kind of take on. Go ahead.
And just to reiterate, the part of the gist of our message, my message, your message to everyone watching this on my YouTube channel, everyone listening to this on Spotify and all the other podcasting outlets, trust no one in this industry. Trust no doctor. Trust no consultant. Go in with questions and don't stop having questions.
Well, and here's what's interesting. This guy writes something in our chat about someone being recommended on some other forum or whatever. The fact that they're still talking about forums in that respect. But anyway, and I'm like, I wanted to write, but I didn't write. I'm like, that place is where old hair transplant surgeons go to die, don't you, man? Like, that's not where serious people do their research anymore. That was an environment that was created when there was nothing, and sadly, it was evolved very quickly into a very dangerous environment for both physicians and, in my view, for patients.
Yeah.
And this guy's still referencing that shit. It just makes me want to throw up my hands and say, whatever. But look, we're here for you to get, guys who are tuning into the broadcast, to get completely objective information about anything and everything in this field and about hair loss and the hair loss industry. If you're considering treating your hair loss before you decide to do anything, before you spend any money, especially before you decide to have surgery, just listen to a few broadcasts, man. Go back, go to Joe's page, watch some, 2 or 3 shows, and you'll kind of get the gist that there's a handful of doctors worldwide who can do this surgery to state-of-the-art standards. They work with a handful of technicians who are really good at what they do. That's really it. And you're not always going to get a great result, even if you're going to the best possible clinic in the world. It's cosmetic surgery. Shit happens. If you just come away with that basic information, you are in a much better place than most hair loss and hair transplant consumers are.
Well said.
Want to take a call, Joe?
Sure. Let's do it.
Okay. And I don't really quit, guys. I just have a different mindset. I'm moving in a slightly different direction starting in 2023. And I'm not going to waste my breath or my time anymore trying to pull up a ship that I just think it's destined to sink, and things just kind of have to be like restarted, if that makes any sense. Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this, and where are you calling from?
It's Morty from Brooklyn.
Fucking Morty, first caller, man. I really need to check these numbers. How are you, man?
I'm good, man. How you guys doing?
I'm all right. I really can't complain. I know I always bitch a little bit, but,
I can complain.
Well, I think you know how I feel, Morty. You're involved to some degree.
No, dude, I was overhearing what you were saying, man. I mean, you've talked about this. There's a changing of the guard that's going on, right? You've got the up and comers, and then you've got the old guard, and I'm seeing it for myself. I got a chance to meet a number of people a few weeks ago, and I'm seeing it for myself, and it's interesting to watch the dynamic. I mean, I remember when I was looking for doctors, one of the things that I remember talking to you about was, I remember this was a conversation way back when I was talking about Dr. Greco, and we were talking about, we were talking about age. It's saying, hey, if you're going to go get a surgery, get surgery done, is the age of the doctor something that you should consider? And at the point when we talked about it, you were very, you took a very defensive tact about certain people saying, oh, no, these guys are solid, this and that. And, it's another question. I think now it's been a couple of years. I mean, how do you feel about that now? I mean, do you still feel the same way? Well, I'm
going to correct, or I'm going to maybe help you, kind of massage some of your language a little bit to be a little bit less insulting. I'm just kidding.
I mean, I'm not exactly a spring chicken either, so, you know.
No. When you said being defensive, I wasn't defensive for myself or for any other reason except that there are some really great surgeons out there who may be in their 60s or something, and they still have the ability and the mindset and the, you know, the hand-eye coordination, all the physical attributes you need to perform the surgery well. Plus, they have the wisdom of fucking up a lot of people in their lives, probably, to some degree, and learning from their mistakes and also the mistakes of their colleagues. So I think there's tremendous value in that wisdom. And even if a doctor is a little bit, you know, maybe they're not in their prime physically, they're still able to delegate properly, and they know exactly what they're looking at. So I see tremendous value in that. So to answer your question, I don't think my mind has changed. I mean, it depends on the person you're talking about. You know, this is 3 or 4 years ago, I guess, when we first spoke. So there's probably a few people out there that have kind of hit the wall since then.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, here we're coming toward the end of the year, and it's, you know, 2023 is just around the corner, and it's one of those things that it's like you want to take stock of what you're doing, and yeah, it's all about, you know, maybe changing your tact a little bit. I'm all for it, man. I mean, I trust you, man. I trust you with my life, and I quite literally have. So,
well, there's only one way. There's only one way to change it, and you know, well, there may be more than one. There's only one that I could think of at the moment during my, you know, brief moments of, I don't know, disappointment and anger after a phone call or whatever. But the way to change it is to, you know, I've always tried to incorporate the ideas and the involvement of some of these physicians. I want them to be involved in the process because I want them to know that, you know, listen, this is a team effort to try to pull up the nose of this ship, and it's a team effort to try to really improve this field. But we need a team. You know, we don't, you know, we could have a great-looking bench, but if everyone fucking chokes when they get off the bench, we don't have a team. We don't have a squad. And that seems to be the case. So
the problem with that analogy is no one wants to sit on the bench because they're sitting next to their colleagues and they don't want other people to know that their colleagues exist.
Well, that's part of it too.
That's a big part of this whole problem of being on a team. And you're right. It does take a team of people to be involved with this. But the problem is they all say, yeah, I'm on board. But when it comes time to actually step up to the plate, they don't want any of their efforts to rub off on their colleagues for fear of a patient, and that's what this all comes down to, going to a competitor or a colleague instead of themselves. That's a huge part of this.
And
two things, actually. They think that the other guy should step up to the plate and take care of business, but they also don't want to get any sort of attention they may garner from being on a team to go to a competitor, to a colleague, or anything like that. Those are the two big problems I see as to why this whole idea falls on its face.
Well, there's also a third problem. The third problem is they want the dugout to be hidden from the politicians. They don't want to know. They don't want the politicians to know that they're sitting on the bench.
Yeah.
That they're part of a team.
That's a good point.
That's
a good point.
So that's all very cryptic, but the bottom line is the only way to do this is to kind of do it the way that I used to do it, the way that I came out years ago. And sadly, instead of working with the physicians, I was seen as someone who was just exposing the industry for what it was, freaking people the fuck out, you know, fucking getting, you know, calls from their fucking lawyers and shit like that, which was fun. It stopped pretty quickly once their attorneys had the opportunity to speak to me. But, you know, that's just, I don't believe there's any physician out there that is really, they're willing to participate in some things. They want to be part of the Global Hair Loss Summit, and people want the podium time, and, you know, they like all that stuff. When it really comes to changing the field, which could happen, saving a lot of lives, everyone wants a piece of the pie, but nobody wants to help to bake it.
Yep.
Oh, nice one.
Oh, I can definitely hear that.
Yeah.
people meeting their obligations to anything that isn't going to basically result in money in their pocket directly. People are going to hum and haw about it.
But they don't understand. But the thing is, it would. That's the irony of it all, my man.
Yeah.
These guys would all be sitting pretty. They wouldn't have to worry about shit. They'd all be booked out. They're just too stupid to see it and too fearful. So there you go. I'm sure that little sound clip.
Happy Friday.
That little sound bite is going to be circulated throughout all of the guys. I'm sure Vicky's going to be circulating and everybody else.
I for one prefer the combative Spencer over the nice Spencer anyway. A lot more fun.
Good.
And to be honest, the other side of that is that as a consumer, you want a combative Spencer because you want somebody who's going to look out for you when the chips are down.
Well, but that's always good. That would always exist. But as far as having to be combative, you don't have to fight the good guys. You don't have to try to convince the so-called good people to do the right thing. You would expect that everyone would just do it because it's going to better the field. It's going to better patients. Patients are going to come out of this experience much better off than when they went in. They're at least going to have a fighting chance when they're making a decision. I find it laughable that doctors, even some of your friends, Morty, I mean, they expect just like a list of, like, everyone's going to be protected by a specific list, and they call them lists, which is ridiculous, of physicians. Yeah. That's not the way it works. Every physician on those lists, every physician who is part of an organization has to participate in some way. And not just sit back and bitch about everybody else's bad results. Do you know there's not a doctor in this fucking industry that doesn't talk about their so-called best friends in the industry? Yeah, I know. There's a lot of backbiting, even amongst closest of friends. I don't know. Whenever there's money involved, people are always, there's the jealousy thing, and there's, the competition. The whole thing about not being on the same team or having to draw a line. I'm dealing with some of the same dynamics internally where I work. It's kind of human nature in some sense, I would argue. Well, but the main thing I would say though is that as a patient, you got to listen to Spencer because he's not going to steer you wrong, and he really has no skin in the game, no matter who you go to. Even if that person isn't part of his organization, he's a straight shooter. People who are listening, he doesn't have hair on his tongue, as they say. He'll tell like it is, and that's one of the things I value the most about this show. Well, thank you, Morty. And yes, alcohol does help Spencer, Charlie, but I don't have any here, so I may have to take some pills. Oh dear. No, drunk Spencer's one thing, but junkie Spencer's not a good thing. Yeah. I think we need junkie Spencer. Yeah, don't worry about druggy Spencer. He doesn't exist. He exists in my fantasy world, in my fantasy life, but I can't take any of that shit. Good for you, man. All right, well, listen, I'm going to let you go, and just thanks for taking my call every single week, and just keep on hanging in there, Spencer. All right, Morty, say hi to your buddy for me. All right. I'm going to see him this weekend. He's tired. All right. You're welcome, Joe. Take it easy. Bye-bye. You look like you just want to leave, Joe. I understand.
I thought I sounded like I wanted to leave.
We both do. 888-659.
Nice to hear from Morty.
Yeah, 888-659-3727. Look, guys, whatever. It's still the Hair Loss Show. We're here to provide you with all the information you need, just the truth about anything and everything in this insane industry. If you're considering surgery, shit, man, take a pause, take a breath, realize what you're getting involved in, and understand what your, legitimate options are. Not everyone makes a candidate for hair transplant surgery. And as a matter of fact, I would venture to say that to be a really good hair transplant candidate, you have to be very specific. There's some, I wouldn't say a specific candidate, but there are more limited opportunities for people to get their hair back via surgery than is put out there in the media. It's not for everybody. And a lot of young guys should never even consider it. Most young guys. Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Adrian from Melbourne. How are you guys?
Adrian, what's happening, man? How are you?
Hey, all's good. I'm getting over the flu, so if I sound a bit congested, I'm on the better end of it. But yeah, look, I'm good. I'm about 10 months now. The hair's really starting to mature, and
that's great.
I think the minoxidil is having an effect in terms of the hair feels fuller. The 0.25 milligrams of finasteride every night, probably too early to call. It's about 2 months. But I'm going back for a review to see Dr. Boyle next month. So far, look, I'm not throwing ropes, but I mean, I'm also 55.
Right.
But, you know.
You mean, just for clarification for everyone, you're talking about Dr. Bevan Barul.
That's correct. Yeah. I'm not taking it a girl's eye with a wax start, but things are still good, so that's good. That's probably the biggest win.
Now I forget, Adrian. I know your entire story, but I forget that is this the first time you tried finasteride, or were you on finasteride before?
No, I've challenged the drugs probably at least twice before.
Yeah.
The first time was 1 milligram a day, and then around 7-8 weeks, pretty much non-existent downstairs, and just not thinking about sex at all. So I gave the drug a washout period for probably a good 6 months. Then I started to microdose. So I would start with 0.5 milligram Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I'd sit on that for a good 2 months. Then on one of those days, I'd increase that to 1 milligram. I'd sit on that for another couple of months, increase another day to 1 milligram. I got to 3 days a week, 1 milligram, and then not long after that, the same deal.
And you're doing okay now. That's great. And listen, I mean, it's been so long since I shot ropes, I forgot what it's like anyway. I don't really miss it.
Yeah, well, you know, all mine are on VHS, so it's going back a long time too, man. But, or was it Beta? I can't remember.
Yeah, mine was on a Sears catalog. Okay, that's how old I am.
But no, that's good. I'm happy. I'm really happy with the hair, and I guess for a lot of people, like if I'm on forums and stuff, I view myself as a repair case. I don't actually review myself as a hair transplant patient.
Yeah, well, you are.
You know, a lot of people, because my prime goal was to try and get rid of these scars, and Joe will attest to that. Probably 6-7 years ago when he reached out to me, and that was my one concern, because I shaved my head back then, was these scars, and it's achieved that goal. So the rest is gravy.
Well,
the rest is gravy.
Listen,
so
you are actually you were the perfect candidate for this type of surgery. You had the correct mental outlook. You're the right age. You dealt with the entire spectrum of what you had to deal with, having bad surgery, then wearing hair for so long, then getting SMP, shaving your hair down. I mean, you went through the entire gamut of possible, try a way to get a positive outcome for yourself. And this
25
worked.
years of a hairpiece. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. But you were a happy hairpiece wearer.
Oh, I was, and I didn't hide the fact.
Yeah.
And it won't work for people out there who are thinking of a hairpiece. You've got to own it completely. You've got to take the piss out of yourself. You've got to have the disposition to see it as like wearing a suit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I love that.
And have fun with it.
Yeah.
Have fun with it. Have a wig party. Mm-hmm. That's what I did.
I don't know why. If Andre Agassi just would have done that, he would have been so much more relaxed about the whole situation.
Totally. Oh, hell yeah. Well, if he never married Brooke Shields, that would have helped too, but that's a different subject. But, yeah. But, no, things are good. And, I look back now. I mean, I'm 56 next month. And I remember being 18, looking in the mirror, and I remember that first moment of looking at my temple and just seeing a slight recession, and it was all downhill from there. And I get it. I see these guys. I have been for many years in a way, especially late, the guys going to Turkey. And, you know, I think if I had my time again, sadly, I think I would be one of these guys who would go to Turkey and get butchered, despite all the education we've got now. So I just look back and just see how stupid I was emotionally. And I look now at how conservative I am about it. You know, I really push shaving your head, and I really push just wait a bit longer and, you know, trial this drug give it the full amount of time. And I just look back at myself, and I mean, having said that, I feel I've come a long way. It's been a long journey, and it has been worth it to where I am today. It's you know, the fruit is much sweeter for having endured all that time.
Oh, absolutely.
And
I can imagine.
Yeah, and I was a little late coming into the show.
So was Joe
on YouTube, but
good one. Zing.
One thing, look, when it comes to surgeons and whatnot, and the grief, it just seems to be this onus is expected upon you two guys and Specs as well to do all the educating, and they don't really want to be a part of it, and sending out the truth, the message about what can go wrong, and they also won't call out the people they hate. They won't call them out for doing this terrible piece of work on someone's head.
That's correct.
It's a very funny alumni.
You know what's interesting is, and that's actually, I mean, you're looking at this from the outside looking in, and that's a pretty good assessment. The thing is, they want, and I've been told this, they will call me, these certain people, and make certain suggestions on what needs to be done, and this needs to happen, and that needs to happen. I'm like, yeah, it sure does. Let's make it fucking happen.
Yeah.
Well, how do you expect me to just? And then there's people that will contact me, don't even want to support what we do. This is the some of the rich ones, the richest stories. They will contact me, call me. They don't support our message of surgery as a last resort. They never even apply to the IHRS. And they're telling me what I need to do to fix a problem. And, you know, I'm just like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's like I'm in the Twilight Zone. And then they go off back to their, you know, Board of Governors meeting.
And you know what's funny, Adrian, you said that they won't even call out the bad work of other doctors. Well, I'm going to tell you a little secret that a lot of people don't know. A lot of these doctors don't call out their colleagues because they're afraid that their colleagues will call them out.
That's true.
Because all of these motherfuckers have disaster stories in their closet that they don't want anyone to know about. Every last one of them. If they've been doing this procedure for a long enough time to have a reputation, there are to take this from Spencer, some walking wounded out there that they don't want anyone to know about, and so they know that if they start throwing rocks, they better not live in a glass house themselves, because those rocks will come back.
Yeah,
that's why you don't hear.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. For sure, Joe. And I recall, I think I was about late 20s, and I finally overcome this paranoia of the scars and everything, and I looked at a lawyer about suing the actual guy who did this to me at 18, because I was only 18. And we needed to get someone to testify, another surgeon. Do you think any of them would even come close to saying, oh, yeah, I'll put my hand up for you?
Yeah, I know a couple of guys, one here in L.A., old-timer, who, for the right amount of money, he would do it. But, you know, he's also a guy, he's an old-timer. He doesn't give two shits about anything. And he certainly doesn't care what people think of him, so he's willing to do it. But, yeah, I mean, it's practically impossible. It really is. So, look, I'm just voicing my frustration. It doesn't mean that we can't continue to do what we do. I still enjoy it. I enjoy doing the shows on Fridays. I enjoy, we're doing, Global Hair Loss Summit this year. It's all positive stuff. But I realized this a long time ago, but this week really solidified it, that there's really no hope in trying to get even the best doctors in the world to actually collaborate, like in a meaningful way that will help patients and the field as a whole.
Yeah.
And that's it. I just have to come to terms with it.
I know. All they have to do is get in the same boat and grab an oar and row in the same direction. But they've all got their own direction of where they want to go. And they're putting holes in the boat at the same time.
That's
exactly
right.
I feel your frustration. I really do, Spence and Joe. But I can tell you this, not just on my own account, but you guys, you're saving lives. People who are, especially young guys, who are listening to your show and have been and will continue to. I mean, you're undoing so much stuff that could have happened, and no amount of money could pay to thank you for that. So I'm indebted to you guys. I'm sitting here in a great spot because of you, Spence. Joe, I'm sitting here thanks to you reaching out to a total stranger one day. And, like I always say, it's like a debt I can never repay. So just the stuff you're doing it's just so needed and so insane that the very people who are performing these surgeries, good, bad, or otherwise, just don't want to get their toe wet, let alone in the boat, is disheartening.
Look, you know what I find interesting? That many of these guys are, let's just say they don't have clean hands, as a term in law, but they're also unwilling to roll up their sleeves to change things. So the whole thing is just it's a fucking mess. But listen, I appreciate what you just said. I know that's 100%. The reality, Adrian. I know that we've done a lot of good. Even no matter how much shit I've had to deal with in the last 25 years of my life, I still feel that it was and I'm not going anywhere, but it's been a life well lived, and I think that just hearing from guys like you really, makes me appreciate a lot of things. So I want to thank you for that.
It regrounds
all
us
around the world. Well, cheers, because I mean, you're reaching out to people. I'm in Melbourne. Someone could be in Tel Aviv. It doesn't matter. The point is that you are really having an impact, and I just can't thank you enough. But look, I'll be brief. I'm at work, but I just wanted to call in. I haven't for a while, and I'm good. I hope you guys are well. And look, thanks again for the show.
All right, brother. Listen, we really appreciate you. Thanks for calling in.
Pleasure.
Okay.
All right, guys.
Take care.
See ya. Bye.
888-659-3727.
That's what it's all about. Guys like Adrian, they've walked the walk and come out on the other side. That cat has learned so much, especially over the past several years. And those kinds of stories, those kinds of calls, they're good. I like hearing from Adrian because he's one of the sweetest guys out there, and he's got every reason to be super bitter, even without having gone through his recent repair. Was it 9-10 months ago? He's got every reason to be bitter, and he wasn't. He's always been pretty well grounded, and for him to be in the position now that he's in, which is an amazing position with the growth and the coverage that he's got, it's very it's heartwarming, and it's grounding. It helps me to remember, not that I forgot, but it helps to put into perspective why we do this. Why I do what I do, why you do what you do. And so thank you, Adrian, for calling. It was nice hearing from you. And Morty, of course, as well.
Are you finished?
Never finished.
Can we take a call?
Sure.
All right, let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from? Hey, caller. Did you got to turn down your computer or your phone?
Hey, you're on the answer to this. So wait, talk. Are you talking to me?
I'm talking to you. Yeah.
Yes.
You got to turn down your computer.
Are you talking to me?
Hey, you're on the answer to this. So wait, talk.
Yeah, we're talking to you, man. Can you turn down your phone?
Are you talking to me?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, I'm talking to you.
Okay. I'm very excited to talk to you guys.
All right.
I have can we put this on there? I have some great stories about going through the process of losing hair.
Okay. First of all, tell us what's your name and where you're calling from.
As well as ask a question, especially to Joe.
All right.
Okay?
What's your name and where you're calling from, first of all? What's your name and where you calling from, dude?
Especially to Joe.
What's your name and where you calling from?
All right, listen, you got to turn down your laptop.
My name's Tim. I'm calling from L.A.
Tim from L.A., you got to turn down your laptop or your phone or wherever you're hearing listening to the show from.
I can't hear you. Damn it.
Hello.
He hung up.
Yeah.
Guys, the phone number is 888-659-3727. Tim, listen, we want to hear those stories, so feel free to call back.
And the key is call on the phone and not listen to the show on your computer or laptop or whatever where you're hearing in the background. So try again.
Just reading an email from you know who. God almighty. All right, let's see who this is. Hey, man.
Hey, are we back?
We're back. We're back in business.
Crazy. You guys are building back better, man, and I really appreciate it. Okay, I've got some great stories. I talked to Joe. Well, we kind of exchanged like a little Twitter or something. I'm walking away from the computer. Don't worry.
Thank you.
About the process and the psychological horror that we go through losing our hair. And then in addition, I want to ask a question of you guys. But,
sure.
Okay. Oh, and firstly, yesterday I took some like daylight, really short videos of me running my fingers through my hair so you guys could see me if you want me to text those in or send those in. And I also have some footage of me in a movie in like 1999. And my hair's slicked back and I'm a cop.
Okay.
And my hair has really not changed in that long.
Well, I know that Joe would like to see the video of you putting your hands through your hair, for sure.
It's my pubic hair.
Yeah.
I don't know if I said that.
Because I'm into 1999's Cops, I guess.
Hey,
Did you say Cops?
Yeah.
Or Cop?
No, not the show Cops. I was a cop in a movie.
No, I know. I'm talking to Joe. He said he was into 1999.
Chill down.
Something sound like
He's like
Cops.
Just like
not a bit.
one fourth of the village people. That's just it.
Yeah. So tell us, man. So tell us the agony. Tell us your story.
Here's a good one. I've kind of been writing about it and stuff. I'm writing about a lot of things, but like just random memories from the past. And here's one. I remember I started losing my hair when I was started noticing it when I was about 21 or 22. And I look back now, I'm like, what was I even worried about? But anyway, it made me kind of self-conscious and stuff. And I remember one night I was out with a friend of mine, this girl, and it was like a Friday night, and we stopped at an AMPM or something, I don't know, to buy some cigarettes or beer or whatever. And there was this old black homeless dude out in front, and, you know, he like smiles at me on the way, and I'm like, oh, whatever. And I come out with some, money, and he seemed like a nice enough guy. So I go, hey, man, how you doing? He goes, you should be ashamed of yourself. And I go, why? And he goes, because you're balding.
Oh, my God.
Isn't that horrific for somebody who's like concerned about their hair to have a drunk old homeless dude go, you should be ashamed.
Dude, that is an amazing fucking story, man.
Dude, I got a bunch.
I'm seeing movies out of that one.
Now.
No, I would be mortified. I mean, it's one thing to hear it from Well, first of all, the ashamed of yourself thing is bizarre, but that's...
I know!
It definitely... But when you are that young and you're dealing with it, and you know you're dealing with it, and some complete homeless stranger decides to...
calls you out.
Calls you out
on the thing you feel the weakest and the frailest about.
That is fucking...
And those feelings, I don't know. Some dudes seem to deal with it
man.
really well nowadays. Like, they'll just go ahead and shave their head, which I have done in the past.
Yeah.
But
how old are you?
Really,
how
old am I?
Yeah.
I'm 56 now.
Okay. So, I mean, we grew up in a time where, I mean, it was just so different, man. It was so fucking difficult to start losing your hair at a young age. There was no, we felt we had no option except to be a complete balding, and I hate to use this term, I don't believe this, but this is what we thought in our minds, a balding loser at the age of 21. Or do something about it.
We live now in the era where it's the best time in world history to be bald.
Absolutely.
Because you can shave your head. And it's the best time in human history if you're a girl to have a really big fat ass. I still don't get that one.
That's so funny.
It is the time.
I think people in our generation don't get it, man.
Yeah, we were all into, I guess Giselle Bundchen was maybe after our time, but like, all those Christy Brinkley and all those chicks we liked and stuff.
Yeah.
But I have been listening to you guys for forever. I remember calling you in the car on the way home from band practice because I had just heard about the Ray Woods technique.
Holy shit.
Brand new.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I called you in the car, and I was like, oh my God, because I was in a band, and I was, of course I wear a lot of hats and stuff, but I always dreamed about having my hair back, and I called you in, and you were like, yeah, it's not quite there.
Yeah.
So,
it's not ready for prime time yet.
But we've come a long way.
And what year was
I
that?
wrote down
I'm just curious. For our historians out there, our physician historians who are listening to this, what year was that?
Yeah, they must know. I don't know. I think it was before 99. I think it was like the mid-90s, maybe. Could have been the late 90s.
Well, all I know is I started talking about it on the air in 1999.
Oh, you did? Well, I called you on, I think you were on KLSX.
Yeah.
It was still the radio show. So if it was that, then it must have been.
Yeah. I guess my point is to those who are listening, this is like, I don't know, 4 years before anybody who's claiming to be, the pioneer of something was actually the pioneer of something. So
yeah,
you were calling in during a time where it was just brand new. No one in the States, no one in North America had embraced it yet. And I believe that this would be a technique that would eventually be a huge ancillary technique. I didn't think that it would take over the way that it has. I don't think that it's in the patient's best interest, but that's some history right there, man. You've been around.
Oh yeah. And I think before that I had even had a consult at Bosley. Woo! I was about 21, and they showed me what they would do, and they showed me we'll put in grafts like this, and they were about the size of a pencil eraser.
Yeah.
And they said, we'll put them in, kind of a quarter-inch apart, so that later we can come in and put, some in between that. I dodged.
Yeah, and how many thousands of people were like, hey, that sounds great. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Where do I sign?
I know. Yeah, I've been very, very cautious. But now I think I'm at the point now where many of the people that I was jealous of their hair, I think I have better hair than just by sticking it out.
Nice.
I've been on Propecia for probably 28 years.
Wow.
About that.
So you're still doing well on it?
I think I'm... Well, yeah. No, I'm not going to stop. And I get blood work, every, year or whatever, and seems fine.
Look, I've been on it the same amount of time, man. It's about 30 years.
Yeah. I mean, practically just when it came out, and it was it was $90 a month or something.
Yeah.
And just pure cash.
I did it 4 years before it was approved, and people were like, that's a bad idea. You shouldn't do that. This is going to happen. That's going to happen. I'm not saying I'm not going to die of some fucking bizarre disease. I don't know. But
I don't think so, because they were using it for that other thing.
Yeah, but 30 years in, I'm still doing pretty well on it, I would say.
I'd say you look kind of exactly the same.
Well, I'm not, but I appreciate that. I mean, face forward, I could pull it off for sure.
Yeah, it's like the two guys that have pretty darn decent hair, well, good hair, are running the bald show. It's a little bit ironic, but I know what you've both been through.
Thank you. Joe's been through a lot more than me. I mean, maybe not emotionally, but
yeah. So anyway, I was recently just super ready to. I had a consult at Alvi Armani about 4 years ago or something, and it was with one of their consultants and stuff. And I said, I'd really like to actually meet the doctor. And they said, oh, he can't today, but you can come back. I said, okay, because I really wanted to meet him. And so I was driving back about, a couple weeks later, and they called me on the phone, and for some reason they had to cancel. So that just kind of threw a wrench in everything, and then I stopped and didn't pursue it. But that was a good thing. Really feeling ready to pull the trigger, and I was very confident about Dr. Bobak, but then I just learned that he passed away.
Yeah, he's gone.
Yep.
And Joe had done a great review of his clinic and stuff, but the poor guy passed away.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for other people that Joe thinks are the shit.
Well, I'm not going to tell you who I think is the shit, because honestly, I don't think anyone's the shit. I think that there are better doctors than other doctors, but they all have their flaws. They all have their idiosyncrasies or even issues that not every patient will line up with. And so, I've had the question posed to me more times I can count: who's the best doctor? And there is no such thing, because it is a very personalized, it is a very unique situation to be in, to find that one clinic that you're going to trust to cut your head, to put it bluntly, and to do it right, and to manipulate the thousands of little organs that magically fly from the back of the scalp to the top of the scalp, and have them all survive the process, look natural, achieve your goals, the whole 9 yards. It's not a simple thing. So, as far as doctors that I like, that I think do a good job pretty consistently, there's still talent to be had at Alvi Armani in the form of Dr. Hughes. He was being trained by Dr. Bobak for a number of years. He was already a hair transplant surgeon on the East Coast before Dr. Bobak took him on. And I've seen his work, and it is outstanding. And so I think that if you're interested in that approach, that style of a hair restoration surgery, as far as like the design aspect goes, I think that's still someone to consider.
I'm going to interrupt you for 1 second, John. I do think that it's important that he knows that Dr. Hughes is a little bit more conservative. Some may say appropriate. I don't know. It depends on the person. But a little bit more conservative as far as hairline design than the late Dr. Ballback. So that's
I'm not opposed to that. I want it to look natural. Is there a way I can send you these little videos so you can? I know Joe's dying to see me rub my hands through my hair.
That's up to Joe.
Or is that not?
You can send them. Do you want me to look at them on camera? Do you want to show the world, or you just want me to look privately?
I was hoping to look privately. I would have worn some sunglasses or something.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, go ahead and send them. admin@hairtransplantmentor.com.
Everyone wants a piece of the pie, but no one wants to help bake it. I'm just kidding, Dave. I'm joking.
Yeah, that's right.
Admin at Hair Transplant Mentor?
Yes.
Hair Transplant Mentor. Admin at hairtransplantmentor.com. All right. And I'll send you also the clip of me as the cop in the movie. I clipped it out of the movie last night, so I can send it to you.
Well, thank you.
Okay. Can you
being in the LA area, assuming you do want to stick around that area and not really be down for travel, you've also got like doctors I don't even work with. I'm happy to talk about them. You got Dr. Mark Dower. He's incredibly dedicated to producing natural results. I think he's good at his craft. There's Christopher Verona down in Newport Beach. He's
very underrated guy.
A very underrated guy. I think he does superb work, and
he also does all the work himself, which is pretty unique.
That's another aspect of him. So, yeah, I mean, you have some options, but are you down for travel at all, or are you just trying to stick around LA?
Well, I would travel in order to get the best procedure.
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to that. I mean,
well, then any of the other doctors I work with that are on my website or showcased on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/hair transplant mentor. I mean, I work with them for a reason. I think that all of them are just very good at what they do. And first and foremost, they produce natural results, through use of, proper stereoscopic dissection, microscopic dissection of grafts and proper singles and the whole 9 yards I'm always talking about. So, I mean, the options are there. And so, that's up to you to go through that list, find the ones that you like, that produce an aesthetic result that you can relate to, and then just have your consultations with them. But then there's also doctors, on IAHRS, a much larger gathering of physicians that are recommended based on pretty high standards. So you've got a large pool of doctors to choose from. It's just a matter of finding one that lines up with your aesthetic and your values as far as producing the result you want.
Yeah. I really was excited when you were really putting your stamp on Dr. Bobak.
Yeah.
He
was very good at his craft. Very good.
Hey, I got to put my phone down for 1 second to click these through. I'm going to send you. They're going to be YouTube videos. I put them on YouTube to make it easier for you. So, and they're private.
Okay.
Hang on. Hold, please.
Well, they should be unlisted because if they're private, I need a password.
I'm sending you so that they can be, as long as you have the link, and you'll be able to do it. So let me see.
I'm just letting this whole clusterfuck unravel, Joe. So we'll see what happens.
It's good radio, as you say.
Good radio.
Good radio.
I was hoping I was gonna, end up being a sidekick on the show, but now I'm more like a liability.
You and Joe from Staten Island both.
Oh no! Come on, that's not.
He remembers that one.
Joe, do you remember Joe from Staten Island?
Of course I do. I'm the reason he left.
Really? No.
Yeah. Yes.
Wow.
He didn't like the fact that I was the go-to guy for the surgical stuff when I'd call in. When Spencer brought me on,
I think it may have been more
as a regular co-host.
I think it may have been more multifaceted than
he
that.
thought he was Robin to Spencer's Batman, and you'd just threw him out.
Yeah, Joe swept in and took Joe's position,
and stole all of our hearts. All right, I sent them. Can you see them?
I get that a lot. Not yet.
Okay. Let's see.
Not yet.
If I can.
That's okay.
So,
let
me see.
So what are your goals? Like if you're I don't see your videos yet. So go ahead and no one's that's listening or watching this will see it anyway. So for the benefit of everyone tuning in, what is your hair loss like? You said it's not really changed in 20 years, and that's fantastic. But what's it like?
Yeah.
Norwood 2, Norwood 3. Have you been diagnosed?
Yeah, I've had tons of consultations. I can't remember. It's basically like the front part. There's still hair there. I still manage to kind of tousle it. That's how I kind of prefer to wear my hair. So it's a little bit of a comb forward type thing. And the crown is like a bit thin, but it's not like the the Friar Tuck.
Dude, if you could still tousle your hair and get away with it at the age of 56 and still look like you have a pretty full head of hair, you're doing pretty well, my man.
You win.
Yeah. And then the wind comes.
Oh, I know all about the wind. What do you think? My hair hasn't moved since 1987, man.
I've heard you say that. I
love that one.
It's a true story.
What
can I tell you?
I don't know why it's not. Admin at Hair Transplant. Oh, I put Transplant.
That's what happened. An old man move.
Shut up.
That's what happens.
Transplant mentor. Yeah.
A long time ago, I'm the guy that made you. You were briefly doing this thing. I'm friends with Spencer, and I made you those stickers.
Oh, you're the sticker guy, man. Holy, it's funny. I've asked about you in the past. Some of the other guys from LA called, and I asked if they were a sticker guy. So how are you, man?
Yeah.
I remember that.
I'm okay. I'm good. I'm a newly single again, so that's why I'm trying to look good. But I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, but I'll tell you this, and again, you know my philosophy on this. I mean, if you could hold off and not have it, if you could still look pretty good at 56 with a pretty full head of hair, I don't know how much that's going to make a difference as far as you going out there and finding another mate. Honestly, man, at our age, probably even younger women they're a lot more forgiving.
Yeah. Admin, but I think it's as a matter of confidence, and I mean I've seen some great results, and I mean I know like
they exist.
You always say wait as long as you can, don't go into it early. But you see people like I think he did it way too early, but like the results of Machine Gun Kelly, that kid. Have you seen his? I mean, he's pretty young.
Yeah.
He had like pretty serious recession on the front temples, and he got it done. He looks great. He may pay the price when he's 50, but
look, the results can be spectacular, or they can be spectacular in pictures. That's
true. When somebody goes to somebody at the level of like Albi Armani, for example, did they come through?
Yes.
Look, I'm gonna be completely candid. Ballback was a part of the IHRS. Mike Hughes is a part of the IHRS. There was a time where let him rest in peace, Alvi Armani himself was a part of the IHRS until things kind of went awry in the practice, in my view, and we decided to separate once they transitioned from strip surgery to full-time FUE surgery, and we kind of just felt the full-time FUE surgery was not going well. But then that kind of changed as Ballback came into the picture, and he took over the practice, and he was really the hands of the practice. So my whole thought process on the way that Alvi Armani has promoted themselves all these years is they've been promoting very aggressive hairlines. They were working on kind of younger patients, and I kind of felt, well, you know what? In Ballback's hands, and now in Mike Hughes' hands, this philosophy seems to be working in general. Most of the patients, there are fewer complaints than you would think, let's put it that way. And they also did very high volume. Now that Mike Hughes has taken over, I think that the practice in general are putting out maybe more appropriate results in general. Slightly higher hairlines, just, taking less of a chance with your grafts, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but going to the Alvi Armani site, I've seen him like I think maybe even in an interview with you and stuff on your site. But all the results pictures on the Alvi site are ones that were there from when Dr. Ballback was there. So I don't feel like I've seen any of his personal work.
You could ask to see his personal work, and I'm sure that they'll send you images or to speak with patients.
The thing about being like, when you say 56 and being able to tassel your hair and look good sometimes is like a win. It almost seems like that's kind of the best possible situation going into it. I mean, if I was completely bald, or very, very bald, I wouldn't consider it because I go, that's just too long of a kick.
Right.
But this, I feel like something appropriate could be done and just kind of picking it up a bit.
I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I looked at the 3 links that you sent to me. I didn't see one where you're a cop and you're slicking your hair back in your hands. I didn't see that. I just saw 3 YouTube shorts that you sent to me, and that's fine. You are what I would classify as a diffused Norwood 5. And what that means is very little hair up front in the frontal scalp. You got the strong band of hair in the middle of the scalp, and then the diffused part of the Norwood 5 comes into the crown where it's thin. There's no pattern of baldness, but there's a pattern of thinning in that region. So your donor region looks, based on the limited view I had, looks pretty strong. So I think that you are actually, just from a physical characteristics point of view, a pretty good candidate based on your pattern and your hair type. You got a little salt and pepper action going on. You could be a really good candidate based on what I've seen. And I think that, what you're looking at with Dr. Ballback, I think that actually his style of a hairline would not have been appropriate for you, but Dr. Hughes' style of a hairline would be more appropriate for you. Yeah. Because, look, Dr. Ballback would throw 2,000 grafts into a hairline just to lower a couple of centimeters, which there's nothing wrong with that, when it's done for the right candidate. But that's more of an old school high density pass that very few, actually no one does that anymore. And, his results were fantastic because of it. But I think that a more nuanced approach with less grafts into a larger area allows for the potential to assess after 1 year and go back in with something much smaller as far as numbers go to enhance, and also you get the chance to maybe alter something that maybe you feel wasn't on point the first time around. I like that kind of approach. I'm no longer a fan of the quote-unquote one-and-done approach. I haven't been for many years, actually. And your case, I think that you have a lot of potential. You've been on the medication for a generation, basically.
Yeah.
You have what appears to be good donor hair. You have a really nice defined frontal pattern of loss. You're hanging on to the back, so that's not an issue. Yeah, I mean, any one of the doctors I work with, I think would do a bang-up job for you. A lot of the doctors in the IAHRS.
But he wants to know who you would go to, Joe, and if you would put your word and your money on it.
I don't put my word and money on anyone unless it's for my own head.
I thought if I called in, you were going to pay for it. I sent the cop video. I sent the movie video.
Yeah,
it went through.
So
if you want to see it.
So I'm assuming you stop. I'm assuming you stopped putting out stickers in bars for the Bald Truth.
Yeah, I did that for a short time, like at the 24-hour fitness and the gas pumps and stuff.
That was very much appreciated, man. That was a cool idea. Are you a friend of Spencer's? Boom.
Yeah.
Love it.
Kind of like, yeah. So I wanted to know if you guys can see that movie clip. It's only about probably 30 seconds long.
I can't see shit. Joe's looking at it right now.
I'm looking at it. It's a 35-second clip.
I'm in it with a very, very big movie star.
Yeah. Wow. That's a good one. He's one of the good guys.
Is that when Nipsey Russell played the cop?
Your hair really hasn't changed.
No,
can I mention his name?
Amazing. Yeah.
I'll mention his name. It's Martin Landau.
Martin Landau, yeah.
Marty Landau, actually, Marty Landau dated my Aunt Bobby, and he actually, I forgot the podcast, but he made a mention of my aunt on this podcast. I don't know if he was on Mark Maron years ago. I forgot.
That's funny.
So my buddy sent me this. He goes, "This must be your aunt." This lady broke everybody's heart, man. This lady, it was insane.
Sitting in the makeup chair for that movie, as you can see how they styled my hair. I didn't wear my hair that way, but every time I would go in and do a movie or something, that's like, can't really deal with your tousled hair, even though you got cast that way. So they would. It's kind of probably the main reason I quit acting.
It's so interesting that you would say that, because I could never do anything like that. And I know this is going to sound weird, but I've been asked to do a couple of things over the years, just living in LA and being around people that are in that business. And my first thought is they're going to fuck with my hair.
Yeah, man. And I've done several things, but they always do it, and I just end up being depressed.
Yeah, I mean that's why
I know there are tons of bald actors out there. And
I haven't had a lap dance since the early '90s, and I will not do any acting gigs.
Yeah.
So.
But sitting in the makeup chair for that was just, torture. It's like a real cool dude that was doing my hair and stuff, and we were talking about music and stuff, and and I'm a musician, and then I look in the mirror, I'm like, oh fuck. So, but a funny story about Martin Landau in that movie, at the the catering truck they always have. I'm sitting there in my cop uniform and a couple other people around at a picnic table, and he strolls over, super friendly, nice guy. And I had a glass of lemonade, and he just walks over, didn't ask anything. He just picks up the glass of lemonade, and he looks at it in the sunlight, and he goes, "I'm sorry, ma'am, your horse has diabetes." Isn't that hysterical?
That's hilarious.
I know, he was a cool dude.
That is hilarious. And then he took out his dentures and he threw them in the cup. But he was a very funny guy and a very cool guy, and when I would, it's so funny. This guy sends me this clip, and I'm like, he actually mentioned my aunt and her last name, and I'm like, that is fucking wild. Like, this woman has left an imprint on the hearts and the minds of so many fucking men from the 50s and 60s. It was unbelievable. Let her rest in peace. She was a fucking smoke show. She looked like a slightly thinner Marilyn Monroe.
Oh, there you go. I'm in on that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to speak ill and sexy of the dead. I'm sorry.
Oh, listen, what are you going to do? But, I mean, I'm telling you, I'm basically saying that my aunt was no, I'm not saying that, but she was, she had her fun.
So, is it respectful?
Yeah, she had her fun. So, all right, brother, listen, I'm going to let some other callers come on, but I would say, first of all, thank you, for your patronage all these years and for being a fan of the broadcast, and thank you again for the guerrilla marketing that you used to do for the show years ago. That was great.
I've always been a big fan. You guys seem to be the only thing out there that I remotely trust the word of. I mean, it's such a. But if you don't mind, maybe
how sad is that?
Time I'll call it and tell you another story. I've got about 10.
Listen. We love call next week, man. Yeah. We're on every week. Give us a call.
All right.
All right, brother.
All right, man. Thanks a lot.
All right,
guys.
take care. Good luck.
Take care.
All right, thanks for calling, Tim.
888-659-3727. Yeah, he used to he made these stickers. They were like small, like rectangular stickers, and be like, "Are you a friend of Spencer's?" Mm-hmm. And it'd be like, and then it had like the 800 number, thebaldtreat.com or whatever. And I was like, that's fucking genius. And he put them in bars and shit.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good.
And I'm still doing this. I'm still doing this shit on the internet now.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Well, I have to tell you, life was a lot. It was everything. The show was different. Everything was obviously, the show was big back then, but it was just a different time for everything. And as bad as things seemed, it was still a hell of a lot better than it is today.
That's what's weird about the whole situation. It's better than it is now. Never would have thought.
No,
I mean, coming out of my mouth.
When I got into the industry, it was so fucking bad. I was like, this is the dirtiest, most repugnant fucking place or specialty of medicine I could ever have imagined. And honestly, all cosmetic surgery is this way, I've learned. Yeah. But
Yeah, someone in the chat room was correcting us about that. It's all medicine, not just hair restoration.
I would say it's not all medicine, but I would say medicine in general is really fucked up, sadly. But the aesthetic plastic surgery, cosmetic surgery, hair transplant surgery, whew, man, some really fucked up people, man. The whole industry, so many things about it are so fucked up. And it makes me feel bad for the guys that really give a shit and the ladies that really care. And they try, they do, they all try. They're very positive about, I want to make change and we want to be involved with you guys and what you're doing is great. And you give them 3 or 4 years and they become beaten down by the system, then they're just, getting drunk, running across dance floors at the ISHRS conference. I mean, it's just the way that it is.
Yeah. Wearing their hats.
Telling them that they love you. All right, let's do this. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey, guys, this is John. I'm calling from the Bay Area. How you guys doing?
Hey, John. What's happening,
John.
man?
Yes, I have two questions for you guys real quick.
Yeah.
The first question I had for you guys was, what do you guys think of, I've been taking finasteride for about 5 to 6 years now, and what do you guys think about taking creatine? Because I know there's, debate on whether it affects your hair or not. What do you guys think about it?
I'll tell you about my experience. I was much younger when I was taking it, and maybe my hair loss was more aggressive. I don't know, but I had already started taking finasteride, and then I started to incorporate creatine into my workout routine. And I was jacked. I mean, I felt pumped as shit all the time. But I noticed that I went through, within about 3 months or so, I can't give you the exact time, but while I was on it, I felt that I was shedding a lot more hair. And that's my experience. And as I was investigating stuff, and I was already investigating stuff for the book, and actually the book was already sold, so I'd already done all that work. But I kind of knew that this was a possibility, but you don't want to believe it. You're like, it's a supplement. You want to be jacked, and you want to take whatever you can to make that happen. So in my case, I felt that it exacerbated my hair loss. And over the years, many people have called in the show. I would say at least 10 or 15 people that I can remember, maybe more, called in to talk about creatine and other supplements like DHEA as well, causing hair loss. I don't know.
About 10 years ago, I was using creatine. I was back in the gym. I was going through another phase where I was hardcore serious about strength training, and I experienced not only no hair loss, my hair overall, due to a number of factors, seems stronger. Now, don't forget that all the hair on top of my head is transplanted, so it wouldn't affect my hair most likely the way it would treat my hair if it was native, not transplanted. So I don't know how that qualifies or disqualifies my experience, but it certainly didn't affect it. I just don't know if it is a qualifying factor where it's transplanted. So I really don't know.
How about we ask this question? Are you currently taking creatine, and are you just concerned about it causing hair issues, or have you noticed some changes?
Yeah, I've been working out for a while, and, in the beginning, I thought that it did, because, I started taking it when I was, 17, 18.
Right.
And I thought that maybe that could have been, a trigger for my hair loss.
Right.
But who knows? Like you said, you don't really know.
No.
But now I'm kind of it's kind of like one of those supplements that work so good that it's even though it does affect your hair, it's damn, should I get on it? Should I not? I mean, I'm on finasteride. Should the finasteride block any DHT that's actually...
It might, but you can get, I would say, and you're not going to get the same dosage, but you can get a very natural form of creatine by just eating meat. Yeah.
But yeah, wouldn't that be a lot? They say it's a crazy amount of beef or I forgot what it is, but...
Yeah, but you don't even know how much creatine is really absorbing into your body from the supplements. You don't know where the supplements are being manufactured. You don't know if the if some of what's in there is from China or from India or from places that you don't really know are standardized. You really don't know what the fuck you're taking in most cases when you're going to GNC or any of these other companies, in my view, from my, the information that I have. And I only say that, I preface that so that I don't deal with the fucking lawyers later. But, I believe in supplementation, and I do take, I take vitamin D3 when I don't get enough sun, and I really shouldn't get that much sun, but, you need enough vitamin D, so I take D3. I don't take any, testosterone precursors or anything that can possibly, that claims to increase your testosterone, and I don't take things like creatine and stuff like that. Sometimes I wish that I could, but I don't. So that's my thing. And how old are you?
I'm 28. I just turned 28.
Dude, you don't realize this, but, you may get a little bit of an extra pump with creatine, but at your age, man, you don't need to do much to really make your body grow.
Yeah, creatine would probably be the one supplement. Yeah, no, I agree. But it's the one supplement that I can diet down and actually get abs and still have somewhat, with creatine you can still have somewhat of a full look, and without it, it's you look way more flat.
Why don't you just get some fucking dextrose? Have that after your workout. Pump up your muscles with fucking water from the dextrose.
That's straight carbs, right?
Dextrose. It's straight carbs right after your workout. I mean, people have eat gummy bears and shit like that. I mean, that's just if you don't want to look flat. After a while, you're kind of do I want to have hair on my head, or I want to look a little flat with my shirt off?
Yeah.
Be like Arnold, eat a pie.
Yeah, Arnold wasn't taking creatine supplements. He was going straight for the Deca.
Yeah, no, I would never touch that. Hell no. My hair will fall off crazy. Do you guys think dutasteride might be a safe option if you were taking creatine or any type of testosterone supplement? I mean, it's not I would take it, but for people that do take testosterone stuff.
Look, I would be, I consider it. I would be on TRT therapy or human growth hormone at this point. I'd be so fucking jacked. I think about it all the time. There's guys my age who live around me that are taking this shit, and it's like a miracle. And I figure at my age, it could affect your health, but what do I got, 20 years, 30 years? How bad could it be? So I would give it a shot. The only reason I don't is because I'm still pathetically trying to hold on to every hair that I have. So if I would have found a way to protect that hair while taking TRT or human growth hormone, I would have, and I'd be able to share that with you. But it's like a razor's edge with that shit, man. And even some of the biggest guys in the, let's say, biohacking or anti-aging business, they fucked themselves by, either changing their TRT, going from injections to pellets, or, even if they're on finasteride or whatever. So it's a risk. There's nothing out there. There's no equation, and there's no real data showing how much can you take safely, even if you're taking dutasteride or finasteride. Once they figure that out, whoever figures that out is going to make a lot of money, because there's a lot of guys who won't do TRT because of their hair. Rightly so.
Yeah, that's smart. Gotcha.
But I wouldn't be too obsessed about the creatine, but I mean, it could cause a shed. You don't know. But a lot of things can. But we do know that can for sure.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Be happy, man, that you're able to lift and you look. You could still look good with your shirt off. Enjoy that, and you got hair in your head.
Yeah, that's a plus.
Yeah.
One more thing I want to run by you guys. So this week I had a consultation. I know you guys are not big on him, and not I wasn't either. But I was just curious because the place I was staying by, his office is right across the street. So I was like, fuck it, let me walk in. So I had a consultation with Dr. Deep. And I know there's mixed information on the internet and stuff.
Dr. Deep. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And yeah, he seems like a, an honest doctor, like they all do. But like, what do you guys think? Like, I know Spencer, he's not. I know he's not on your website.
He never fully applied. The only reason he's not a part of things that I'm aware of is because he never fully applied. He applied twice that I recall, and he never sent in the required documents and imaging and contacts for patients and stuff like that. That's why he's not on it. I mean, we didn't reject him or anything. He just never fully applied.
Okay, so he just okay, got it.
Now, it doesn't mean that we would accept him, but he's never, I just don't know. All I know is what I see online, and all I know is that he applied to the organization 2 separate times and never followed through.
Yeah, because like what I see online is like such, like it almost seems like you like hit or miss. It's either like people get like some horrific story from him, or they get like this home run case from him. So it's kind of like, you know, and he does seem, I mean, he's got a nice office, he's got everything. So it almost seems like, you know,
when you're churning out those type of cases and those numbers, and you become well known on YouTube, one of the first guys to really make that happen, you're going to have a nice office because you could pay the rent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know, that's how it works. You know, you can never be, and again, this is nothing against Dr. Deep. I don't really know a hell of a lot about him except for the few people that have called the show over the years about him, some stuff that I see online, and the fact that he applied to the group a couple of times and never followed through once he was asked for all the documentation. So when people ask me, and you were clear, you know, like, well, I know he's not on your website, meaning he's not in the society. It just means that he never fully applied, but it also doesn't mean that he would be accepted if he does fully apply, if that makes sense. So I can't give you an answer about this particular guy, but I will say that you can never judge when it comes to these guys where they're located. That means shit. How nice their office is. Now, you want a nice, clean space.
Yeah.
Just because someone has a super nice office in a super nice building that may be a little over the top, it doesn't mean it makes them a better doctor. It just means that they've been able to make a better living.
Yeah.
You know, like, it was funny to me how, like, in the Bay Area, like, being such a well-known, like, medical, you know, there's so much innovation happening here. He's almost like the only guy that really does hair, like, from what I can, like, research-wise. I've never really found any other doctors. Which
3
is weird.
words for you. Dr. Paul Rose.
Yeah. I was going to say that.
Oh,
wait,
Dr. Rose.
That's one you should also. He's now in the San Francisco area. Yeah, he used to be in Florida.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's exactly what I said when I found out. I was like, "What? He's in San? Well, that's crazy."
No, because I had a consultation with him. Like when out, like in Miami, I had a consultation with him. So that's crazy that he's in. I did not know that he was.
Yeah.
He was in the Bay Area. Yeah, no, I spoke to Dr. Rose. He was, to me, he was probably a little too honest. But no, he seemed like he was a good doctor. I just didn't go with him.
That's what you want.
But he.
And when you say a little too honest, was he telling you things that you didn't want to hear, like maybe this isn't for you, or you have limitations?
Well, no, because I went into office as like a repair, like, because I had a transplant that didn't go well.
Right.
So I went in there and he was like, "What the fuck is this?" And I was like, that was the first time, like, he was maybe the first person.
I'm sorry, I just had a vision of Paul Rose going, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah,
that's,
and like,
that's not something you would say, but yeah.
Yeah, he was one of like the first people that really put in like my head, like, damn, like, this is not, you know, an optimal like result, because like I knew it wasn't good, but like he was just like, nah, like, this is not acceptable. So, you know, it was kind of spooked me a bit, but no, he was a straight shooter, and he kind of gave me like the same, I guess, approach that a lot of doctors gave me, but he was just didn't offer like the laser stuff, so that's why I didn't go with him. But no, yeah, that's like, I'm surprised he's in the San Francisco area. I'll probably see if he can, you know.
You should let him know that you heard that he was in San Francisco, that we told you, so that they put you on top, in the front of the list, front of the line, and yeah, see what he has to say again. I think that's good advice from Joe.
Okay, cool.
All right,
guys, I want to take your time. Thank you so much.
All right, man. Thanks for the call. Good luck.
All right, bye.
Good to hear from you. Take
28 years old. Worried about being flat when he sees his abs. I get it.
Is that a thing? Like being afraid your abs are too flat?
It's your muscles are too flat when you lose a lot of weight and you lose a lot of water, so you become not as pumped. So once you see abs, normally you're going to look a lot thinner. So the key is to try to see the abs and keep the pump, which obviously I've given up on many years ago. But when I think about life and as I've developed and I've evolved and I've become more wise and just grown older, the shit that we used to worry about.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the guy's willing to potentially take a supplement that could potentially cause him to lose hair just for a slight pump. And I get it. That's the thing.
Pump.
I get it. But it's like, anyway.
It's completely relatable. Completely, like I totally get it. When I was that age, the shit I was considering doing for whatever reason, it's funny. That's one of the benefits of getting older. You can look back and say, what the hell was I thinking?
Yeah.
Take things a bit slower, right?
Well, I don't know, man. I still think about it. Like I do exercise and I do like having muscle and staying strong and for different reasons. And I do think, I see my peers, they're all jacked up on this stuff. People you don't even know, Joe, even people in this industry. And they're all taking fucking TRT, talking about their fucking hard-ons and, their moods and, that they're losing more body fat and all this shit. I'm like, I want to do that.
I know. I had a doctor that I know quite well swearing to me that TRT therapy was the fountain of youth.
Yeah.
Like, it's been found. Like, that is it. And there's actually, and he's talking about HGH at one point too, because there was a patient that was in his 50s taking HGH, and he had been winning bodybuilding competitions, and he wasn't a bodybuilder before. And I mean, he was a big guy, but and I remember him saying the same thing about that. HGH, yes, that's the fountain of youth. And then he discovered when TRT was coming back into fashion as TRT, low dosage, is like, this is it. This is the fountain of youth. And he never took any, I don't think he took either. And today, you can tell. He didn't take either.
But he didn't take either, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I will say it's a lot harder, guys, young guys who are watching and listening, it's a lot harder to maintain a decent physique and not look like an old man in jeans. You know that old man jean look? That's a hard thing to get past. I see guys who are much younger than me. They're like 45, and you see them in the back of a line like in a supermarket, and you're like, what happened to this guy's ass? Can't wear those jeans, yo.
It doesn't work anymore.
Yeah. So I'm very cognizant of that, and I watch for it. And I ask people who are close to me, like, look, as soon as, if that happened, I'm going to work hard to try to, at least postpone that event from happening. But if it happens, you got to let me know. Just say, look, it's time to wear, you got to put some slacks on.
Slacks. Suspenders.
Just you got, at a certain age, you have to kind of just like, put on, and I wear a button-down shirt all the time anyway, but like just put on like a dress shirt, a nice blazer, and a pair of slacks, and that's the next decade of your life.
That's your next uniform.
Yeah, that's the next uniform, and that's just the way that it is. You don't want to be the old guy in the skinny jeans with no ass and like really weak legs.
Bad visuals, man.
Yeah.
Bad visuals.
All right, guys. So listen, we have no calls.
Anyone else?
We started late, but we have no calls. But we might as well end early. I mean, I'm good with that.
That's fine.
You sound disappointed, Joe.
You can take it either way. It's like we can go. We've got stuff to do.
Okay, good. Let's get out of here.
But I'm glad we're ending on a high note. I'm feeling better. I was able to get a few things off my chest, even if it was still kind of cryptic. Some good calls.
Yes.
Great hearing from some of these guys, or all the guys actually, and good activity going on in the chat room. People having fun. So I think it's good to go out on a high note.
100%. Yes, Drunk Spencer, I could be here next. Drunk Spencer could be here next week. I don't really get drunk on the air. I mean, I would say that Tim has probably heard me since he used to call the radio show. He's heard me fucking loaded. We used to do drinking chats, and we used to do like drinking shows, full on like I drink a half a bottle of Jack Daniel's show, and it is ugly, not a pretty sight. Never got as drunk though as I did with a well-known hair loss hair transplant salesman who came here, and I'm just like, I didn't eat all day, and I had one too many, and next thing I know, I'm like, how did I get home? And what's this rash? Okay.
Why does my ass hurt?
What is this? All I know is the guy doesn't talk to me to this day, or whatever.
There was it wasn't Drunk Joe, but early on in my Bald Truth career, I was we were both sitting here. We'd have our glasses of wine.
Yeah.
So it was buzzed Fridays, or were we doing Fridays or Tuesdays back then?
I don't remember, but it's kind of hard to believe that I would be more open than I am when I'm sober, but I guess I might be. I don't know. But I'm pretty open about my thoughts, my concerns, my feelings about what's happening in this field. Just the day-to-day bullshit, like just even speaking to some of these guys on the phone, it's just so frustrating. It's like, when are you going to wake up? Wake up, because nothing's going to get any better. Your market share is going to get much smaller, and with that, there's a lot more harm and damage being done. So in time, while the pendulum swung all the way to the other side where hair transplant surgery is now an acceptable option for people, in 5 years it may not be, because there's going to be so much bad work walking around. People are going to be terrified to have a hair transplant. Terrified. That's how bad it is. When I see obvious hair transplant work here in Beverly fucking Hills, something's going on.
Yeah, that's what's crazy. That's what's crazy. One of the aesthetics capitals of the world.
Yeah.
and you got cornrow heads walking around. It's like
in 2022.
I'm not trying to get cornrows.
Almost 2023. I told you, I know a billionaire. That's not hyperbole like, oh, he's worth hundreds of millions. This guy's worth over $1 billion. And he comes to me with a flyer from the gas station asking me, it was for a neograft procedure, if this was a good deal. His car is over $1 million. One of his cars.
Yeah. What is it about hair? People want to just cheap out on hair.
I'll tell you this though.
So much money.
He never charged a drink to his place. Just saying.
Well, how do you think he got to be a billionaire?
That's true. All right, guys, we got to go. Thank you so much. All of the websites are in the description of Joe Tillman's Hair Transplant Mentor channel. It's hair transplant. It's youtube.com/hair transplant mentor. It's now called the Hair Transplant Channel, but that's how you get there. That's the URL. trying to remember this. Ring the bell, subscribe. First subscribe, then ring the bell so you get notifications. And if you're watching the show now, just like it. Just press the thumbs up button.
That's all you gotta do.
You know, even though I'm frustrated, I will be here next week. I'm going to turn on this camera and this microphone and just talk to you guys about whatever you need to talk about and give you the best advice that I possibly can. Joe hasn't sold out yet either, so I think that he'll do the same.
Probably. We'll
yeah.
see.
And that's it. I want to thank Hair Loss Cure 2020, HLC 2020 in the chat room, for always supporting us. And I think we're going to be doing some more work together in the coming months.
It's exciting, yeah.
I have always admired what he's done and how he's done it, and he's one of the good guys. So anyway, until next time, guys, be strong. If you're listening, go to Joe Tillman's website, hairtransplantmentor.com, thebaldtruth.com. You know the rest. Until next time, be strong, God bless, and thank you so much for listening. Have a good night.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry for any inconvenience you may have been put to prior to the programme, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. And if you could now leave by the exits at the rear, that'd be splendid. Thank you.